So you're working with an orchestra and they're having difficulty with vibrato. Now it's time for some troubleshooting. You got to figure out what's going on, what's breaking down, and how to correct it. From my experience, about 99% of the problems with your violinists and violists are going to be with the inside index finger knuckle, squeezing against the neck and learning how to open up and create that space. For cellos and bass players, 99% of the problems that I see are with the thumb. So a lot of things that you can do is just look visually. You'll see with your violinists and violists that they're squeezing so hard that their index fingers are turning white, their thumb is turning white, and immediately you have to start getting them to relax the hand and use some exercises like pull-ups to get them to relax and stop squeezing the hand and start supporting the instrument with their body. For cellos and bass players, if you're starting to see the thumb wiggling around like an earthworm, you need to do some finger flapper exercises or some finger tapper exercise on the upper bow to get them to isolate the upper part of the hand from the lower part of the hand. A lot of times when you see violinists and violists learning to vibrato, they will move the wrist while keeping the finger stationary, when in fact we're trying to move the finger while keeping the wrist straight. So one thing that can really solve that is having them shift up into fifth position where the heel of the hand makes contact with the upper bout, and then they can vibrate and the wrist is going to remain stationary because it's isolated by the upper bout. So if your violinists and violas are ready to shift back to first position and start vibrating there, you might need an additional step in your staging to get them comfortable. So you're getting them a little bit further away from that upper bout, which gives a little bit more play in the wrist potentially. So what you might want to do is have them put in what I call a spacer with the right hand. So they're going to create the spacer and now put their right hand on the upper bout, which creates space, physical space, but they still have physical contact with their hand, so that when they put down their finger and they vibrate, they still have some isolation. There is more opportunity for play, but you kind of want a little bit more opportunity because you want to see if they'll do it right. If they're not doing it right, go back to fifth position, then try it again with the spacer, and then try to take that spacer out and see if they can do it. Make sure that your students are supporting their instruments correctly. Make sure that their setups are correct. If their setups are not correct, this is going to be an exercise in futility. It's going to be extremely difficult for them to create vibrato because they're not set up for success. Also remember that orchestra is a bimanual activity, meaning that the left hand and the right hand do very different things. Isolate the left hand first, make sure the students are comfortable with that, then add the bow back in. When you add the bow back in, you might want to do this sequentially too, and stage this out to where your violist and violist are in fifth position. If you can separate your low strings and your high strings, this might be a good idea because it's hard to create homogeneous exercises that fit the entire orchestra. So if you, again, have a high school director that can help you, or an assistant director, or somebody that can come in and take your low strings out while you work with the high strings or vice versa, this would be very beneficial. If not, you just make it work in your class. They might be playing different pitches. It's fine. It's not going to hurt them. They're playing long bows and learning how to vibrate. They're learning how to pat their heads and rub their bellies at the same time. It's all going to work out in the end. Work with what you got.